turn the microphone on so that you can hear me. It says I was talking without it on. So let's try again. Hello. I'm glad to see you today and glad to be here. Glad that you're here with me. Please ask questions as we go along. I will later on drop some links in the comments after I'm done chatting with you so that you can. Yes, thank you, Cheyenne. Hopefully you are now. Are you getting sound now? She wasn't getting any sound at the beginning because I didn't have my microphone turned on. I'm going to look at this. It should be, looks like it's working now. If you're still there and can give me a comment saying you are hearing me now, that would be great. Because if you're not, I definitely need to be doing something different. Yay. Okay, it's working. Good. Thank you. So that's a friend who's watching. I'm glad you're here. Taking a minute with me. Like I said, okay, I was saying when I had no sound because I had my microphone muted, that today is a day that's a little different because I don't have a guest on today. I'm going to be sharing some pictures, some thoughts, some updates, various things with you that I feel are important. I think that you might be interested in, and I hope you'll hang with me, ask questions, drop them in the chat. Even if you're watching this recorded, put them in the chat because I'll watch later and get back to you on whatever questions you have. Send me a DM, send me an email, whatever. I'm not running the scroller across the bottom this morning, but I'd love for you to be on my email list, which is the Klein and Company Insider. You can sign up for that on my website, which is, of course, www.Klein, C-L-I-N-E, and co-travel.com. So sign up there, and I send out a weekly update with some great information. So there's that. Tonight, I am doing a little Zoom call get together, and I will drop the link for that in the chat, and would love to have anybody that wants to join me sign up and join me for that. It's going to be a nice, just a fun conversation about travel in Kenya, trips that I have coming up for next year. So stop by. Make yourself a cocktail, stop by and have some fun. And I will also on that front drop a link for the website that is dedicated to those trips for next year that I've got posted. So all kinds of good information there. And lots and lots of stuff going on in the travel world right now. Oh my gosh. Everybody said the floodgates were going to open, and they have. So the good news is everybody is ready to travel. The bad news is that if you haven't been on top of certain types of trips, availability is getting really low. So whether you call me, whether you call somebody else, whether you do it yourself, my suggestion is if you're wanting to go this summer or even this year, you should get on it. So sorry about all the ums. I need to learn to get rid of the ums. Another thing, the Atlas Ocean Voyages. This is their expeditions catalog, has just come out. I got my box of them the other day, and oh my gosh, let me tell you, there are some trips in here that are amazing. I cannot wait to send some people on some of these trips. Here's a Holy Land trip, which looks incredible. And right now there is a super secret, top secret, not really deal of a 2-for-1 on some of those trips, which is, believe me, a smoking deal, as they say. So with all that said, let's move along to the trip that we took to Kenya earlier in the year. And the reason that I want to talk about this today is because many of you know that Kenya has just had another shutdown, which absolutely breaks my heart. When we were there in January, it felt so safe, and the cases numbers were very low. The deaths were very low. The good news is the deaths are still very low. The bad news is that for a country like Kenya, anywhere in Africa for that matter, places like South America, those parts of the world, When tourism stops in those places, it is absolutely devastating. And we all know the iconic pictures of, the animals in Africa and what happens there when the money dries up. The rangers can't be paid to protect those animals from poaching. So poaching goes up. When people don't have jobs, they can't feed their families. So the bushmeat trade goes up. Kids can't go to school, which means that, and I'm sorry, I get really emotional about this, that, when girls, especially young girls, can't go to school, they are more prone to being married young and not getting educations, and then not having ways to contribute to society. So it's a really sad and hard thing. So I'm praying that this will be a short shutdown for them, and that by booking travel over there, whether it's for 2021, 2022, 2023, if we just make deposits now for a trip that we want to do in the future, that will go a long way to literally saving lives. So I will show you why I think it's such a fantastic place to go. And when we went in January, we arrived into Nairobi. And let's see here. I couldn't get that picture uploaded. I was a little late getting started on this today because I was so busy getting trips organized for people, which is a wonderful thing. So I am going to start by telling you. So we began in Nairobi, of course, where most people do. A couple days there. Then we went off to near the Aberdare National Park to some friends. We stayed with them for a few days, went to Solio Lodge and saw that. Fabulous. That was the first place I ever saw a rhino in the wild, which was just incredible. They've done an amazing job with the rhino population and taking care of them and bringing that population back in Kenya. So first wild rhino I ever saw. From there, we went on to Mount Kenya, and we actually rode horses up Mount Kenya, which was really exciting and fun. Then from Mount Kenya, we went on to Barana Lodge, and that's where I'm going to start with some of these pictures today. So give me a minute to get myself. So I started to tell you about the poaching problems that there are, in Kenya, when, even in good times, there are some poaching problems, but certainly less so when there's money coming in. It's less so when there's money coming in because the rangers can be deployed to protect the wildlife. And we were fortunate enough while we were there at Barana Lodge to go one afternoon with the rangers on their deployment. So you can kind of see in the background of this picture, those are barracks, and these are the vehicles that they use. And what they do in the evenings is take the rangers out, and they are armed. They have their gear that they take with them, and they're out there all night long. They're not right up next to the rhino, but they are close enough to where they can keep tabs on them. There's a headquarters that they call into if they need help for any reason. But every single rhino, which is in the thousands on the conservancy there, are tracked every day from 24 hours a day. So the poaching there has gone down considerably, which is obviously wonderful in so many ways. And but they need our support to be able to continue on protecting these amazing animals. And I will also put some links in for a few places that donations can be made if you feel like that's something you'd like to do. So, and there he is. So we were in the truck one morning at Barana, and obviously this isn't the best picture as far as shadows and all are concerned, but when he happens to cross your path, you don't get to tell him to turn his head the other way. But it was amazing. This is a white rhino, And he came along, just meandered up the road, walked right in front of our vehicle, and actually went down into a mud pit next to us and sat down and looked at us, literally sat down on his bottom. So very, very cool when you get to see them in real life. Okay, so the next thing, we're not quite there yet, actually. I'm going to go back to this picture for a minute because we're not quite to that point yet. So from Borana, where they have this amazing program for protecting rhino, we went on from there up north to Omalo, and that's in Laikipia. This is also, Borana is also in Laikipia, but this further north up there. And I had a really fun video that I made that I'm going to show you real quick, and then we'll come back to the other stuff. So let's go here. Little flipping around, sorry, and I'm gonna play this for you because it's kind of fun. That's not a very flattering way to start the video. Sorry about that. Like I said, late start today, not as well organized as I should be. Okay, here we go. Okay, so that was a great day. From Omalo, we took a helicopter ride up north to Lake Turkana, spent the day, and we would stop and start all day long. And it was one of the most fabulous experiences of my life. And we did get to see some amazing wildlife from the air. Obviously, we stopped on the sand dunes on the way there and had a little run up the sand dunes. And I was joking in that video because the chopper pilot said, "Oh, let's just run up to the top of that sand dune." And I was like, "Oh, that sounds like a great idea." Oh my gosh, I thought I was going to die by the time I got up there. I was so tired. The sand was steep, but the view was amazing and it was worth it. And after I caught my breath and didn't die, I realized just how special that was. So that's something that's amazing that you can do while you're in Kenya. And I'm going to stop for a second as I go back to this other video here, or the pictures here, and just tell you that I think a lot of people don't realize that there are so many different things you can do in Kenya. We think of I said just going for safaris, but there are so many different kinds of safaris. If you're interested in going for the Great Migration is happening on land with the antelope and the zebra and the wildebeest at the same time that the whale migration is happening along the coast. So you could do a double. You could do the ocean migration as well as the Great Migration. There's the northern area, the Samburu land, Lake Turkana, which is up near Ethiopia, which is a completely different landscape, a completely different way of life than what you'll find in the Masai Mara. You can go further to the east into some of the parks there that are Tsavo and Amboseli, where you can even see Mount Kilimanjaro from some of those. There's so many different ecosystems and different kinds of experiences you can have there. Like I said, we did a little camel trekking. You can go on foot. You can do walking safaris in addition to your vehicle safaris, your photographic safaris. There's just the options are endless, and the coast is amazing. The Indian Ocean was incredible. I was very glad to get to do that. And what would be a better way to end a trip like that than a few lovely days on the coast? So after we left Omalo and doing all of the helicopter and camels and so forth, we went on to the Masai Mara, which most people are most familiar with. It's the most famous, probably game viewing on the planet, I would say. And the people that live there and are raised there and can bring it all, even though you're seeing it all in real life, they bring it to life for you in their knowledge. And having a great guide is integral to making that happen. So we had the very good fortune to meet Jackson Looseyia, who you see here with my husband, Pete. We stayed one night at a camp that he and his partner, Dominic, own. And they are the only two Maasai to ever own a private camp to date. And his story is fascinating, wonderful. I absolutely loved getting to spend time talking with him and learning about his journey. And I am going to show just a short clip from this video that I have with him that I have just loaded onto YouTube. So I'm going to show you just a minute of that, and then I'll come back and talk a little more about the Mara.
Tough decisions has to be made, and sometimes you make it on the run. You make it when you're sitting in a room or under a tree, which very often in our culture.
Well, good morning, and here we are with Jackson Looseyia. Looseyia. Okay, I wanted to make sure I said that correctly. And a lot of the people that are watching us today might know you from Big Cat Tales. And tell us, how did that start? How did they find you, and how did you get involved in that, into the television show?
Big Cat Tales was the result of the previous Big Cat Diary, which was a BBC program. And because I was on BBC and previously, and talk on television, I've been a presenter for several documentaries. So they followed that record, and they started Big Cat Tales season 1 and Big Cat Tales season 2.
Yes.
And so that's a fabulous program. It's a nice follow up on the wildlife, as you know. The wildlife are the celebrities.
Right. Well, and it was so nice watching you on that, and then getting to meet you in person. And obviously you have a lot of expertise, not just with cats, but with everything. So there's just a little taste, but we had a great 20-minute conversation, and I could have talked to him for 2 hours. He's an amazing man, incredible knowledge. And as you can see from the beginning of that, he was on Big Cat Tales season 2, which is a BBC show. He has started earlier working with them, the Scots. And so it was like getting to meet a celebrity, and just an incredible experience. So I hope you'll take the time to watch that. I'm sorry that it's a little moving around. The gimbal that I was using apparently was having a little trouble trying to focus, figuring out whether to focus on me or him. I thought I had it set to focus on him, but not so much. So if you can't stand to watch it for fear of getting a little motion sickness, then listen. It is worth listening to him. He's a really interesting person, and his lodge is beautiful. It has 8 rooms. It's all a tented permanent camp, but tented canvas camp. And we just enjoyed meeting him and had a wonderful time there. So that's the video announcement for the day. And here's a picture from the back porch from the lodge there. And you can see in the distance, just barely, there's a hot air balloon. Somebody was going for a hot air balloon ride that morning, and I just snapped it with my cell phone. So it's not the best picture, but that's another thing you can do. Hot air balloon ride. And there I am with one of the guys from the camp. They were all so sweet and kind, and they're just wonderful people. And, going back to what I was saying at the beginning, it just breaks my heart about, knowing that they are out of work right now. And I know they're having a tough time. They're having a tough time feeding their families. And, I know it's tough on everyone around the world, but, I think that most of us are at least fortunate enough to still be able to eat. So. All right. And okay, so on to Barana here, or back to Barana. We're at Barana with the rhino. So back to Barana, we're gonna meet Ben, and there is a video in my YouTube channel, also a little interview that I did with Ben. His name is Benedict Narumbe, and again, a wonderful young guy, really super intelligent. He told me his story about how he became a guide. He actually started as a waiter at one of the lodges and became a guide. He has 3 young kids and his family doesn't live close. And so he travels back and forth. He stays while he's working for long periods of time. And then he goes home for a couple of weeks to see his family and goes back again. And I think about people like this and, you know, what must be happening now with the lack of tourism there. And so again, just trying to put some faces and people, and know that they're real lives that are affected. This was our room at Barana, which is absolutely beautiful. All of these lodges that we visited are mostly small, family-owned lodges, and this one only had 8 cottages on it. So it's very intimate. You get your own guide assigned to you while you're there, and you get just treated like royalty, and it's a wonderful, wonderful experience. So I'd highly recommend it to anybody, and it is included in one of the trips that I have for next year for 2022. Of the trips that I have organized, there are 3 of them. One is a luxury dhow trip at the Indian Ocean and in the Lamu archipelago. Then we've got the luxury lodges trip, of which Omalo and Borana are part of. And then we also have a trip that is a horseback safari too. So we've got some good choices there. And back to the beginning there. So, okay, so we have come to the end of the photos. And I think that's about it for today. I appreciate you all joining me very much. I appreciate your patience with me because I'm not as polished and prepared as I normally like to be. But as I said, I'm really glad that travel is picking up. We're busy. My colleagues in the business are busy as well. So I'm glad that you all want to travel again. So anytime, give me a call, send an email, send me a text, go to the website. That's the easiest way to begin the process. I'd love to talk to you. Be sure to sign up to get the weekly email update. And when you do that, you'll actually get a sample luxury itinerary in return via email. And I'm about to change that out because I put a new one up every quarter. So I'm going to leave the one that's up there for just a couple more days, just to give people a chance to get that one. And then everybody who's on the list will automatically get the new one every quarter. So join me in becoming a Klein and Company Insider, and I hope to see you next week at 4:00. And I've got a great guest in the works, so next week you'll get something better than just me. All right, take care.